We're going to talk about instincts in this video. All animals have instincts that underlie their behaviour. As humans, we tend towards thinking that instincts are outdated or somehow don't play any part in our lives anymore. But according to Stan Gooch, instincts play a massive part in our lives still, because we are just made up of these conflicting sets of instincts that we've inherited from our hybrid parentage of Cro-Magnon and Neanderthal man, who both had completely different evolutionary paths, and so therefore had different instincts, different sets of instincts that just happen to be almost opposite to each other. And so within us, we have this constant conflict going on, and we think of it as maybe our conscience, or we think of it as our morals. So the sort of to and fro, or the pulling and pushing, our head telling us to do one thing and our heart telling us to do another thing. You know, these are the symbolic way of saying that we have these two opposing sets of instincts within us. And instincts are really a form of speech that predates speech, obviously. They're millions of years old. Speech is a cultural phenomenon. It's just passed on culturally between members of the species. We teach each other how to speak. Speech isn't necessarily inherited. The ability to be able to speak a certain language isn't inherited. You can't teach your children Mexican and then their children automatically speak Mexican. It's something that you have to program in. But instincts are hardwired. They predate speech, and they are a way of interacting with each other without having speech. So if you meet people from another country that don't speak the same language as you, we should still be able to roughly work out how we feel based on certain instincts. So you can have the instinct of someone being aggressive, for example, or you can have the instinct of someone being amorous. And, you know, you can... a man could see a woman, and regardless of what language they both speak, he could be turned on by her, or she could be turned on by him. And these are instinctive actions. They weren't taught by the parents. The parents didn't teach the children, oh, when you see this type of man, you'll be turned on by him. When you see this type of woman, you'll be turned on by him. Or they didn't teach their sons, when you see this type of behaviour, it's going to make you aggressive and feel like defending yourself. When you see this type of behaviour, it's going to make you feel pacified and feel like you should, you know, bow down to somebody or give them the power or whatever it is. But that's what instincts are. And we see them all the time in the animal kingdom. You can watch dogs playing. You can see how dogs interact with each other. You have a more dominant dog and you have a submissive dog. And you can watch, say, a beaver. Beavers building dams. Now, beavers, you can put a beaver in your house and it will still try to build a dam. It will still get anything it can find, toys, rugs, or bits, food bags or rubbish or anything, and it will try and start building dams, because this is an instinctive behaviour. You can't take it out of the animal. The animal has evolved with that instinct for millions of years. The squirrel burying its nuts. You can't bring a squirrel indoors without it attempting to bury nuts in your carpet. And sometimes we can see these instincts pop out of nowhere with, say, a pet dog. When your dog gets excited, you can observe the basic instinct of your dog come into the forefront. So when animals get excited, they tend to forget their programming and their social conditioning, and then suddenly their instincts pop to the forefront and they lose control of themselves, or they lose themselves, or we've got lots of ways of explaining it. We say, we might say, oh, I just completely forgot who I was for a minute, or oh, you have to make an excuse for why you acted a certain way, or you got aggressive with somebody because of a certain look they gave you, or a way they talked to you, or there's something that you got triggered with. You can take a piece of paper with 2 black dots, and you can hold it over a baby in a cot, and the baby will smile at it. So the baby, you're releasing an instinct in the baby to smile. Now the instincts are to look for 2 dots. Very simple, but what that will do is release the instinct in the baby to smile, and what the smile does is it releases an instinct in the parent to nurture. So it's a two-way interaction. The parents have to be in touch with their instincts, and the baby, which you wouldn't have taught the baby to respond that way, but the baby smiles in order to elicit a response in the adult. So by smiling, the adult then falls more in love with the baby. Babies look cute when they smile, and then the parent feels more inclined to nurture it. And so you've got a two-way interaction to sort of strengthen that bond between the baby and the parent. Other characteristics that can be releases are things like eye colour. So in mammals, we have babies with blue eyes. Majority of mammals, the babies are born with blue eyes. This turns off or inhibits the aggression instinct in the parent, which would normally would neglect anything that just appears in its nest. But with the blue eyes, it actually inhibits the instinct to remove the baby from the bed, and releases the instinct to nurture. So blue eyes are a way of getting the parent to act a certain way. So in a way, instincts have evolved a sort of manipulative relationship. So they can, as I say, they predate language, but they act as a language. They're a language of necessity. So the child is helpless, or the baby is helpless, because this is in a lot of mammals, so the baby is helpless. And in order to elicit nurturing from the parent, the blue eyes are there at birth. That then tells the parent, it releases the instinct to nurture, and the baby gets looked after. Another characteristic of baby mammals in particular, although we do see other animals with this same feature as babies, is the pink skin. So you'll see a baby mouse that's pink with no hair on it, or it's got very, very white fur. And again, this pink skin releases the instinct in the parent to nurture. It perceives the baby as helpless, small pink body with blue eyes, and that releases the instinct in the parent to nurture. And then we also have pale fur. So lots of mammals are born with either no fur, which shows the pink skin, or they're born with a very pale fur, which also has the effect of a pink skin. Some of the mammals I can think of that don't have this are mammals like horses or deer, and these actually are born and have to be able to stand up immediately. So I guess they're just not as helpless. They don't need as much help from out of the womb as all of the other ones that are small, pink with blue eyes. So these instincts are not to be trifled with. They're not something to be scoffed at. They're not something to be dismissed very easily. They are a form of communication, of intraspecies communication, and everybody within that species will share those instincts. There's something common to every member of the species. They predate language, and we should take them a lot more seriously, because most of our interactions with each other are probably more instinctive than we think they are. So if we learn to be less analytical about our interactions and just trust our instincts. An instinct isn't something that's just there to, pop up every now and then. Oh, I think my instincts are telling me to do something. Your instincts are at play all the time. Every interaction that you have with somebody is instinctive.